Hey, what's YouTube? It's your boy Rojo with the convict's perspective. And man, if you guys would, man, hit that like and subscribe for me, all right? What we're gonna do is, man, this is kind of gonna be like an impromptu question and answer session. I had put something up earlier on the community asking what you guys wanted me to break down in my next video this evening. And I got so many responses that, well, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and try to answer all of them, man. So why wait around? Let's get to it. So I'm not going to name these. I'm just going to go through them, man. But first, I was asked about the NF and their activities in other states. Well, basically, what you're going to have is, most of the other states are going to be controlled by the feds, and that's through, their recruitment and people, and the feds, they send you any state, any institution, man. You get busted in, say, Georgia, you might end up in prison in North Dakota or Texas or something. So, as they recruit people throughout the federal system, man, they're going to expand into other states and cities. And, part of being a member is establishing yourself on the streets, being able to develop a strong, base where you don't rely on anything else except other individuals that are like minded. You're going to have a few that have moved from California, not going through the federal system, but maybe moved to Oregon or Washington, Nevada, Arizona, and they're still going to be obligated to establish a little branch out there wherever they're at, but their money's just going to be sent to a different spot, instead of going to the feds or whatever. It's going to stay within California. They'll have their local money which they keep in their area to further their ventures, but then they're going to have their mandatory kickbacks that go, formerly Pelican Bay. I don't know exactly where they would be sending them now, but yeah, that's about that, man. They're gonna function the same. I mean, the Constitution's the same. The expectations are the same, and the activities that they participate in will be the same. So, I mean, that's about all I can say on that, man. They're gonna keep popping, and it's gonna keep going, just like it would in California. You know what I mean? Okay, another thing I was asked is about my interactions with Serenios, MA members, etc. Man, I've only met a couple, man. There was a guy I met in Yuba City who was a Sereno. He was originally from LA, man. I don't remember which hood he was from, but it was one of the bigger hoods, man. I'll try to remember and mention it in the comments or something. But I messed with him real tough up in Yuba City, man. But at the time, I was already no longer active. You know what I mean? But as far as my interactions with them people, they've pretty much been limited to Pelican Bay. Susanville, somewhat. I met some cool ones in Susanville, man. I kind of had some people in the vent that were all. I mean, I had two sets of black dudes upstairs and then some Serenios next door, and I used to chop it up with them pretty tough. You know what I mean? Because nobody'd be able to be in my business and be like, man, you shouldn't be talking to them dudes or whatever. And my celly was the other, man. So I used to chop it up with them freely. They were cool. One of them was from Florencia, and one of them was from man, I want to say Long Beach, man, but man, I could be mistaken. But they were cool as man. They were cool. I've never I've never met any Serenos or MA members that I disliked. You know what I mean? It's never been personal like that with me. I judge people individually. If it was time for, a problem to develop on the yard, I mean, man, you got to handle your business. But as far as them, I never had no issues personally. And I've never had to go at it with them, man. Most of the stuff, yeah, I take that back. I've got into, with them on the streets a little bit and a little bit in the county jail, but like major incidents, man, I really haven't had the most with them dudes, man. So I don't got nothing bad to say about them. I interact with people how they interact with me. All right, the next thing, man, somebody asked me about homies that turn, they become Christians or whatnot if they didn't debrief or, they didn't have any other baggage. But as far as homies turn into religion, it was policy. I haven't had to deal with it too much in my career, but it was policy that as long as they weren't obligated, like as far as being, a member of a higher level, or it wasn't during an act of, it wasn't an act of cowardice, like, there was problems on the yard and they decided they were going to be Christian all of a sudden. We always let them do what they were going to do as long as during their transition they didn't promote any kind of, they had to really be true about what they were doing. You know, if they were giving their life to God, we wanted to see them in church every opportunity, in Bible study, and so on and so forth. And if they did that, man, we respectfully let them do their thing. You know what I mean? We didn't hold that against them, but it would kind of follow them. So people would always be watching, be like, oh, he used to be a homie, but he turned Christian. Why is he got a drug debt? Because then there'd be a problem. You know what I mean? But as far as that goes, people were free to do that as long as they weren't obligated to like being a Hermano or a NF member. All right, in the feud between the state and the feds, man, and who I think is the rightful, chain of command, man, I was always taught that the head of the organization resided in Pelican Bay. However, things have changed since then, with everybody being released from the shoe and so forth. I think it would lie where the general would be, whether it be whoever. I don't want to say no names, man, but and as far as the difference between the feds, I mean, the feds have their own whole CSC going, and it's a whole different thing. So, I think the leadership in both, and this is just my strictly my opinion. The feds, they're running their thing, and the state's running their thing, and both of them are appropriate for what's going on. That's my opinion. I don't know what's going on with that feud at this current point in time because it could change any day. They could squash it. They could further it. In my time, though, if this would have happened, pre 2012, before everybody got released, from the shoe on the validations, headquarters, in my opinion, would have been Pelican Bay only, and that wouldn't be questioned. And that's just because that's how it was written up and taught to me. All right, have I ever seen a person that was a regiment commander lose that title because they were performing inadequately or poorly or whatnot? Oh man, it happens all the time. If somebody's messing up out there, the next time someone gets out, they will be put in that position and the other person will have to step down. If you mess up too much, you won't have to worry about that because you'll have some problems. But if someone's just not performing, they're gonna be reprimanded and they're gonna be replaced. There's no doubt about it. Specifically, I can't think of no details. I've only seen it happen when somebody of a higher rank is released and that person automatically assumes control. But there's it's happened many times over the years where somebody's messing up, and the first chance they get to replace that individual, they're getting replaced for sure. As far as getting tattoos, welga birds, stars, things of that nature that have significance, or people question whether they do or don't have significance. The only tattoos, man, that you're gonna have to answer for are gonna be the ones where if you take a step like into the former, Nuestra Raza or the NF. Welga birds, stars, all that stuff, man, they're kind of, if you just got them and you're a first termer and you got all these, tattoos, people might be like, you're pretending, you know what I mean? But you're not going to get in trouble for having it, man. They're all symbols, that are commonplace among Norteños, so having all that stuff, man, it's just showing an example of who you are. This is what I'm proud of. This is what I'm representing. But as long as you don't have like the bandera for the NF or the NR or anything like that, you're not going to have any problems about tattoos. At some point in history, I was told that you couldn't get certain ones. You know what I mean? But I mean, I really don't know nothing about that, man, because in my time, from the early 90s till today, I've never seen nobody get checked about a tattoo. The difference between the NR and the NF. Okay, well, both are lifetime commitments. Okay, let's not forget that the NR doesn't exist anymore. But when it did, the difference was both are lifetime commitments. However, for the NR, your only commitment is when you're behind the walls. I mean, this is how it was when I was in there. It's been altered, and some people have told me that it changed and you were obligated on the streets to a certain extent or whatnot. But when I joined, my understanding was you're obligated to function, under that organization and ultimately under the NF. anytime you're locked up. You were free to do what you wanted on the streets, and you were encouraged to look out for people when you paroled. The NF is a lifetime commitment, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where you're ultimately your only priority is the business of the O. It's before anything. It's first and foremost. It's before your mom, before your kids, before anything. And like I said, it's a lifelong thing. So I mean, while the NR commitment was a serious one, and you're obligated to defend your bonds and your format, and be at the bidding of the NF while you're behind the walls, though the step to the NF is totally for life, and it's always. All right, as far as the NF and the MA and the end of hostilities, and do I think it's gonna last? Um, yeah, man, I would say so. Upon the end of people being in Pelican Bay, Corcoran, having the indeterminate shoes for being validated or whatnot, everybody who's been in the shoe for many years got out of there. In the shoe, man, I've been to Pelican Bay. I've done three little terms up there, and man, it's no fun. There's nothing cool about it. You're not using the phone. When I was there, your mail was taking 3 weeks to a month, let's say 2 weeks to a month to get to you, because all the gang people would be going through it, and then they would do it just because they can. It just take extra long. It's so hard to visit, especially like for the Sureños. I mean, they're coming from far away. I mean, even me being from the East and North Bay, it was a strain for me to get a visit. I mean, it's an all day affair just driving there and back for a little visit behind glass. I mean, you have no communication with your people. You might not find out, that somebody was sick, or that they passed away for a couple weeks or a month, So all the gentlemen from all those organizations, the big four, when they got out, and man, getting out of the shoe and going to a main line, it's night and day, and once you get a taste of that main line, man, you don't want to go back to that shoe, so they're going to clean house, and take care of their own bad seeds and whatnot. They're going to continue to do that, but when it doesn't cross over gang or ethnic boundaries, the administration's not going to trip so hard. I mean, granted, there's going to be some lockdowns, there's going to be some charges pressed, people are going to be going to the hole, but when the gang, one gang versus another level of violence is stepped down, I mean, it makes the administration look good, so on whoever they got to answer to. I say it'll last because I mean it's lasted for this long, and they've coexisted, and there hasn't been no issues. And don't get me wrong, it's always a ticking time bomb. But a lot of people, especially the people that have done a lot of times in the shoe, are probably tired of it. Would you rather be out there, be able to hustle, get contact visits, get family visits, enjoy, some, uh, we'll call it real food, because when you leave the shoe and you're used to only getting, 9 cup of noodles a month, and now you're out here, you can go 140, 150, however much they can go to the store now, and they can eat and talk on the phone to their family and watch, some better TV than what they got up in the Bay. And man, it's just their standard of living has increased so much, and they can continue to do their bidding, and all they got to do is, you know, peacefully coexist. I mean, there's no reason that it shouldn't last, and it's beneficial to everybody. You know what I mean? And it helps them to further their objectives in growing their respective groups, because they have access to a lot of people, and new manpower, and different hustles, cell phones. You know what I mean? They just have a lot better opportunity than they did sitting in Pelican Bay or Corcoran. So I see it lasting. Yeah, I don't know if it'll ever spread to the streets or not. Who knows, man? Um, things have changed so much just in the last 10 years, things that I never thought I would see, that nothing's impossible. But yeah, I think it'll last, and I think it's a good thing. How did I get my name? Well, before I became old as heck like I am now, my hair was pretty red, man. It was like a copper color. So I've had that name Rojo since I was probably 13, 14. And yeah, that's how I got it, man. How can a convict after parole get a good job? Well, man, you gotta want it. You know what I mean? And you gotta apply yourself. I mean, people usually just don't hand you jobs. I mean, you might have a hookup, a friend that works at a company, a family member that works at a company that can get you in. But if you don't got no skills, man, there's no problem with going to like an apprenticeship at a union. You know, um, I had enough work experience that I was able to skip the apprenticeship process, and I became a journeyman in the union right away back in 2000. But I had already been in the same trade all the times when I wasn't really locked up, so I already knew how to do everything. And back then, if you could prove your worthiness in being a journeyman, they'd just let you right in. Now, almost, I think every union that you go in, it's mandatory to go to the apprenticeship. But I mean, it's all on you to get a good job. I mean, you got to get the training. You got to have the motivation to apply places. You got to be able to downplay, or not necessarily downplay, but an employer is going to want to see you accept responsibility and be accountable. You're like, hey, I have been in a lot of trouble. I'm tired of living that lifestyle, man, and I think, working with your company, I can make a better life for myself, and that's what I want in this life. I don't want to go back to prison. I made some mistakes, but I can assure you that that's part of my past. My future is retirement, 401k, benefits for my family, maybe buying a home. And if you're sincere with them and you look them in the eye and there's no I've never not got a job, man. I could talk myself into any job, just because I'm down to shake a man's hand and look him in the eye and be like, yeah, I got 19 felony convictions and it's never prevented, that's a lot. I get it. It's never prevented me from being able to get a job, I make great money doing what I do, and man, I got more felonies than most. So, I mean, it can prohibit you from a couple things that you might not be able to get clearance for, or a company's insurance might not cover you on, like if you're going into people's homes and stuff. But for the most part, if you apply yourself, and do and show up to work every day and strive, man, you're gonna climb up the ladder. You know what I mean? But it's all on you. Whatever your future, your present, it's all in your hands. You just got to apply yourself and do the right thing. As far as California, and the CDCR, they put the R in there for rehabilitation. Man, there should be a lot more programs to help people do things. I don't know what they have now. It's been a while since I've been locked up, and when I was locked up, I had an indeterminate shoe, so I didn't have any action at any of those kind of programs since like way back in 90. Man, 94 was probably the last time I was on a main line, and we had fire camp, you had, chef programs, you had welding, um, but man, there's no reason that some of these, especially the lower level prisons, couldn't partner up with job training programs, and make those kind of relationships with companies. And there's all kinds of benefits that employers and stuff get from hiring felons. You know what I mean? Um, I agree that there's just not a lot that they offer, man. And especially now with things being way more peaceful than they were in the past, they should take advantage of that, man, and it would help it would help the society, because you get these inmates and they leave prison, man, people with 5 years, they could go through a whole apprenticeship training program, come out as a journeyman, and jump right into a 50, 60, $70 an hour job. You have incentive like that, man, you jump out and you jump into making what I make, like I get $60 an hour in my union. That's a lot of incentive not to do the things that you've been doing to get you in prison. You know what I mean? I got a good hourly job. I got great benefits. You know what I mean? My whole family's just covered in medical. You know what I mean? I got a couple different pensions. I got awesome vacation pay. If the unions or, big company, nobody wants to get out and do the minimum wage thing, but sometimes that's a stepping stone that you got to take. You know what I mean? Is if you want to be successful out there, you can't have all that idle time. Idle time is going to make you start to stress like that your economical situation's messed up, or you're not going anywhere and you should just go grab you a bag and get to grinding and hustling. that's that idle time's going to give you, man. Sometimes you got to start in a messed up place, but there's no reason that society and the prison population and the administration can't get some kind of thing going that benefits, these inmates with, especially the ones with under 7 years or so. They're going to be back out on the street soon, and do you want to spend a little bit of money and train these people, or have them go back on the streets with the same skill set that they had, that when they came into prison? I'd love to see the carpenters union, the electricians, plumbers, you know what I mean, whatever, masonry, whatever, ironworkers, whatever it may be. I'd love to see them develop a program where, they come in there and they teach these guys and they get these guys jobs. You know what I mean? And man, like, I know if I would have stepped out a couple times, okay, let's say I wasn't in no prison gang, especially because I was required to be active at all times on the streets. But like, if I was just a regular, non-affiliated inmate, and I stepped out and I'm all trained, and you're talking about, oh, you want to start here tomorrow at $60 an hour, man, you know where I'm gonna be tomorrow. I mean, that's me personally. But they gotta do more. There's so many things they could train people to do. I seen recently that they're supposed to be letting people who've gone to fire camp become firefighters now, and that's great. That's a good career. It's honorable. There's benefits, especially if you work for the state or the feds. I mean, they got amazing retirements. I mean, you do better on your retirement than you do, during your working career. You know what I mean? But I haven't really thought of anything specific that could be done, but I could sit down and I could think about, 20 different programs that employers out in the world and the state of California could come together and have some kind of agreement that's mutually beneficial to everybody. As far as the education I received on the inside, man, my stuff was almost strictly things pertaining to the cause or about criminal activities on the streets. I did learn how to fight forest fires. You know what I mean? I did I did fire camp my first term, and man, that was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed it. So, but as far as like, any education I got, well, I taught myself a lot about business. When I was in the Bay, I had a bunch of, books about starting LLCs and, entrepreneurship and, sole proprietorship and, taxes in regards to corporations and stuff like that, man. So I taught myself quite a bit about, the initial startup of a business and, keys to growing it and so on. Um, but most of my stuff was basically, first we started out with the Norteño bonds and the format, and then, different kind of concepts related to that, weaponry, warfare tactics, the other languages, writing in code, things of that nature. And then, as I progressed in my status and eventually joined the NF, I learned the whole NF Constitution, as well as the one for the streets. And I've been abreast of every article and every chapter of every different version of the Constitution. I was really well studied in that, man. My nickname up there was the Constitutionalist. So I learned a lot about that, and then also all of the ventures, basically the criminal activities that organization participates in. I learned how to implement them from beginning to end, and as well as have them work together. It's kind of hard to explain what I mean, but there's like 13 different ventures that we would participate in, and establishing each one of them has its own method according to that group. But then getting them to intermingle to thrive off each other, each different activity, I learned how to do all that, man. So sign language, you know what I mean? My language skills in other languages like Spanish and Nahuatl, they were never the best. Um, but my focus was always on advancing criminal activities, so Uh, if I was to say what kind of an education level as far as like criminal stuff, man, I got a master's, if not a doctorate. But I'm a real inquisitive dude, so I always sought to find out stuff I didn't know. Like if I heard other people talking about like anything whatsoever, and I was ignorant as to what they were discussing, I'd go research it, because I don't ever want to be in a situation where I can't intelligently hold up my end of a conversation regardless of the topic, man. Be it you working on cars, be it construction, be it politics, be it gang stuff, you name it. I wanna have a I want to be able to represent myself well in any environment. So no matter where I might be, whatever kind of conversations might pop up, and my opinion is asked or I have a comment to make, I could confidently make that because I have at least a general understanding of everything. Like I've told you guys before about Tibbs. Somebody asked me about Tibbs and Pelican Bay in here too. But like I said about Tibbs, man, he's a journeyman everything. He's a journeyman in life. He there wasn't too much like we talk about philosophy, like his command of languages and so on and so forth. It's just like if you asked him something, there's a 99% chance he had an answer for you that was not only intelligent but articulate, well thought out, etc. And I want to be that same kind of person, man. So when you ask me something, I don't care how mundane it is or how advanced or whatever. I want to be able to hold my own in a conversation. So, I mean, even to this day, I'm on the computer a lot. I'm on Google a lot. Like, hey, Google, tell me this, So, not only that, I watch a bunch of them nerdy kind of programs. I'm all on the Discovery channels and survival channels. I want to get dropped off in North Dakota with nothing but a pistol and some water. You know what I mean? And I want to be able to survive. So, I mean, the ability to educate yourself in there, especially in them shoes, is kind of difficult. It ain't like you can walk to the library, jump on the internet or anything. So as far as being in prison, man, I was taught criminal stuff and things about our cause. But yeah, I got a good education in there, man. It's a lot of things that I never would have learned on the streets that shaped me into becoming the man I am. So it's hard to get access to anything in Pelican Bay. They're gonna be like, no, you can't have this. We're not allowing that, and you have to get this in soft cover, and so on and so forth. And they kind of try to keep you down a little bit. For a long time, I don't know how it is now. They weren't allowing you to take college courses or nothing. So, you're pretty limited into what you can get there on the main line. You have a little bit more action on receiving certain things that might help you. But you just got to strive. You got to talk to people. You got to figure out a way, find something you're interested in and try to get information on it. But it's not easy in prison to really educate yourself properly. At least it wasn't when I was there. I mean, hopefully times have changed. All right, the last thing I'll touch on real quick is like street fights between North and South in Contra Costa County and where. I mean, I can really only speak for Concord so much because that's the only place that I ever had any kind of conflict with the Sureños. And there man, there wasn't even a lot of times, man. A lot of times it would involve, you know, be either just putting hands on somebody real quick or attempting to and them taking off. You know what I mean? Uh, it was really hard to get any kind of good runs at any at any kind of banging out there because, man, you know what I mean, and what's going on and specific job skills. Back to talking about what the R and the CDCR, the rehabilitation. Man, they keep you down in there. They kind of suppress you, and I just hope it changes. All right, man. It's been a minute, and I find myself rambling, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. But we'll do this again real soon. If I didn't get to your question, don't take it personally, man. I was just flipping through there, looking at the ones I could find, and I'll try to get back on there and at least answer them in written form. right on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night, man. And please, please hit that like and subscribe, man. That helps us out to continue what we're doing.